We tend to think of the ground we stand on as, well, solid, stable, permanent, right? But what if I told you that an entire continent is literally tearing itself apart as we speak? We're about to dive into a geological event that signals a huge, and I mean huge, change for our planet. So this whole thing kicks off with a single, fiery event, and it really makes you wonder, could one volcanic eruption happening in some remote corner of the world actually be a warning sign that an entire continent is breaking in two? Well, the answer is a definite yes. And honestly, the story is even more incredible than you can imagine. Okay, so let's set the scene. Our story starts in Ethiopia. Back in November, a volcano called Haile Gubi just roared to life, erupting for the very first time in recorded history. I mean, people miles away said it sounded like a massive bomb going off. This wasn't just any old eruption, this was like a serious wake-up call from deep inside the earth. And the scale here, it's just wild. The eruption shot a column of ash 50,000 feet straight up into the sky. Just to give you a little perspective on that, that's more than 1.5 times higher than a commercial jet flies. Just wow. And believe me, this was not just some local news story. This ash cloud was so huge, you could actually see it from space. It drifted all the way across the Middle East, over places like Oman and Yemen, and eventually made it as far as Pakistan and India. It caused some serious travel chaos, grounding flights in big cities like Delhi. So why ground all those flights? Well, there's a really good reason. You see, volcanic ash isn't like the soft stuff from a campfire. It's actually made of tiny, super sharp particles of rock and glass. If that stuff gets sucked into a jet engine, it can melt, turn solid again, and just completely shut the engine down. And on top of that, it acts like sandpaper on the cockpit windows, basically blinding the pilots. Yeah, not good. Okay, so where on Earth did this crazy eruption even happen? The location is actually a huge piece of this whole puzzle. We're about to go to one of the most extreme environments on the entire planet. The volcano sits in a place called the Danakil Depression. And when I say it's hot, this is the hottest inhabited place on Earth. We're talking temperatures that regularly shoot past 50 degrees Celsius. That's 122 Fahrenheit. It gets basically zero rain, and it's one of the lowest spots on the whole continent. The landscape there is just so extreme, it looks totally otherworldly. The ground itself is painted with these incredible, vibrant yellows, greens, and blues. It almost looks alien. And all of that color comes from chemical reactions happening right on the surface. You can see why it's such a huge draw for geologists and, some very adventurous tourists. And all this brings us to the real question, right? Why? Why is this super remote, alien-looking place one of the most geologically active spots on the entire planet? Well, the answer goes much, much deeper than just a single volcano. You see, that eruption, it wasn't just a one-off event. It was actually just a symptom of something way bigger, a massive process that is literally reshaping our world on a continental scale. That volcano erupted for a simple reason. The entire African continent is splitting in two. It's happening right now. We are literally watching the slow, incredibly powerful process of a continent breaking apart. So to really get this, let's do a super quick refresher on tectonic plates. Basically, think of the Earth's surface not as one solid shell, but more like a giant jigsaw puzzle. It's made up of these massive slabs of rock that are always, very slowly, moving around. And when they interact, well, that's what creates everything from the tallest mountains to the most powerful earthquakes. Now, this place, the Danakil Depression, it's sitting at a really rare and super active spot that geologists call a triple junction. It's the exact point where three huge plates, the Arabian, the Somali, and the Nubian, all come together. And here's the kicker. All three of them are pulling away from each other. And this massive tectonic tug-of-war has created a giant scar across the continent. It's called the East African Rift. We're talking about a 6,000-kilometer-long gash, a whole network of valleys and volcanoes that stretches from the Red Sea all the way down to Mozambique. This right here, this is the fracture line. This is where Africa is tearing apart. And the amazing thing is, the evidence for the split isn't hidden away deep underground. Nope, you can actually see it right there on the surface in some of Africa's most famous landmarks. So many of Africa's most iconic features are actually here because of this rifting process. Think about it. The incredible peak of Mount Kilimanjaro? That's a volcano created by the rift. That famous bubbling lava lake at Urta Ale, it only exists because the crust is so thin there. Even the Great Lakes, like Tanganyika and Malawi, are just filling in the deep valleys that form as the continent literally stretches itself apart. And sometimes this super slow process happens in these dramatic, violent bursts. Like back in 2005, the ground here just unzipped itself. In only 10 days, a massive crack, 60 kilometers long and several meters wide, tore right through the Ethiopian desert. It's like one geologist said, we are literally seeing a continent break apart in real time. And you can see it for yourself, right here. Just look at the tiny little figures of people in these pictures to get a sense of the scale we're talking about. It is absolutely immense. This isn't some computer-generated diagram. This is a real photograph of our planet changing, captured right in our lifetime. So the big question is, if a continent is breaking apart, what's the end game? What does it eventually become? To figure that out, we gotta look millions of years into the future. Okay, so geologists figured that in about 5 to 10 million years, this whole process will be finished. The Great Rift Valley is gonna drop below sea level, flood with water from the ocean, and that'll be it. Africa will be permanently split in two, creating a brand new ocean basin in between. I know, 5 or 10 million years sounds like an impossibly long time, but let's bring it down to a scale we can actually wrap our heads around. The plates are moving apart at about 2 to 5 centimeters a year. You know what else grows at about that speed? Your fingernails. So, in a very real sense, the Earth is changing right now at a pace that you can actually understand. So, when you think about it, every earthquake, every volcanic eruption we see in this part of the world is just another tiny step in this absolutely colossal process. We are literally watching the birth of an ocean, just in extreme slow motion. It's such a powerful reminder that the ground beneath our feet is anything but static. And it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other massive world-shaping changes are happening right now just beneath the surface?